Often people think of equal opportunity and friendship. What people often don't understand is the amount of money that it costs in terms of wealth, accumulation of wealth. So if we look at 2012, 2013, do believe that the statistic may be, it may be a little off on this. If you look at the average household wealth for white America, it's $130,000 approximately. What do you think it is for Hispanics and for blacks? How about 8,000 for Hispanics, about 7,500 for blacks. Okay, that's a big disparity. It's a big disparity. And it is a result of generation after generation of being denied opportunity to accumulate wealth. So it's an example, right now St. Louis is doing this big initiative of looking at the Great Divide, Delmar Avenue. What's happening north of Delmar, south of Delmar. Yeah. So if you can imagine a family at this time when integration was happening, moving out of the DeVille area, or look at the DeVille area, and buying a house on Enright or those streets that are north of Delmar, and then take this year, they bought the house in 1940s. That's when that area starts integrating. The value of that house today compared to a white family buying a house south of Delmar, and the value or even the existence of that house today, because we look at all the vacant lots. So that's all part of the wealth. Or if you look at, I think of even my own family, even though they were almost immediately property owners after slavery, they were restricted in the land that they were able to buy. And then when you look at the worth of that land today, or occupations that people could go into and being able to accumulate wealth and transfer that to their children and their children and their children's children. Or even looking at westward movement, states like Oregon and Washington that did not even allow blacks to settle in those places. So those things cost money. And we're looking at it today, and I know there is this hostility, and unfortunately, oh my goodness, there's so much hostility to this whole idea of leveling the playing field. Some people see it as taking away from those who have and give to those who have not. But unless there's an evening out, and not making everything completely even, but understanding that there needs to be something to happen to help those who were left behind. And especially those who were left behind. Because if you look at, I think of my family and most of the kids that I grew up with, when integration came, we were ready to walk through the door. My parents graduated from high school, and that was pretty significant. I didn't realize how significant it was in 1944. I'm born to two parents who graduated from high school, or that I had generations of people who owned property. But we were just prepared. The only thing that was holding us back was segregation. But the people who did not have, and that's the majority, are left behind. As I go back and I look at that neighborhood, it still looks pretty good, but it's not the same people who lived in our neighborhood who were lawyers, they were Pullman porters, they were teachers, they were postal workers, there were a whole variety of people. My generation, they live in Lincoln Park and some wonderful high-rise. They live out in some suburb. They live in places, California, St. Louis, and places like that. And we left those neighborhoods. And that's true of St. Louis, too. So we left, abandoned those neighborhoods, as people do. I mean, that's the American story. You success, you move out, and you move up. But something has to be done to get those folks caught up. And it's about money. I think that's one thing we're going to have a very difficult discussion we're going to have, the economic cost of racism.